Hi, my name is Roxanne. I have been a teacher at ISS of BC for many, many years. And so today, I'd like to give you some tips on how to improve your speaking. Okay? First of all, you know, when I ask my students, did you practice speaking when you were learning English in their own country? And 90% of the time, students say they really didn't focus on that. They focused on grammar, they focused on reading. So, you know, a lot of times their speaking is, you know, it's quite weak. So I have to say that, you know, students are very nervous. They think, oh, before I speak it must be perfect. I must make sure that there's no grammatical mistakes. But I have to tell you that in the real world, there's no grammar police. No one is ever going to stop you and say, you use simple past and you should have used present perfect. You dropped some articles. Wrong preposition. It's never going to happen. You know, as a teacher, or as a native speaker, you know, I ask my students many times, how long have you been in Vancouver? And they say, oh, I've been here 2 months. And I know that they meant to say, I have been here 2 months. I fix it in my head. We, as native speakers, when we are talking to someone, we fix it in our head. We're not going to point it out, you know, make you feel insecure. We fix it. Even as native speakers, even myself when I am speaking, we make grammatical mistakes. It's the nature of speaking. So you cannot be afraid to speak because you're afraid of making mistakes. Just go for it, okay? There's no police, okay? Second, I always tell my students, you need to speak slower. Sometimes when you're nervous, you start to speed up. You know, as you get nervous, you go faster. And the faster you go, the more mistakes you make. Even, I know that in your own language, you probably speak quite quickly. You know, I am quite a quick speaker. But I tell my students, look, slow down. If you slow down, you give yourself time to think. That's what commas and periods and pauses are for. Take a breath. You know, it gives you time to think, to formulate your ideas so that you will probably reduce the number of errors. So, like, slow down, okay? Third, you need to speak louder. Sometimes, many of my students, they talk way too quietly. I can't hear them because they're just so quiet. And then the person says, what? Like, pardon, excuse me? I can't hear you. It is not that maybe your speaking is incorrect. It's just that they can't hear you. I mean, I don't mean yell. I just mean, you know, speak a little bit louder so that the person can hear you, okay? Fourth, you need to take risks. English only gets better if you take risks. You have to go out of your comfort zone. So when you're in Starbucks, when you're in the grocery line, you know, person standing next to you at the bus stop, take a risk. Talk to them. You need to find those opportunities to practice your English outside of the classroom. Volunteer. You know, Canadians, we love to chit-chat. I talk to people all the time. I talk to the person on the bus next to me, the person at the bus stop, the person waiting in the movie line. So take risks. Find those opportunities to practice your speaking. Fifth, practice, practice, practice. So many times my students, I say, did you speak English on the weekend? And they say, no. Did you speak English last night? They say, no. You need to practice. If you think that your English will increase quickly, your speaking will improve quickly, if you don't practice, you're wrong. You cannot just come to class and practice. You need to be practicing all the time. You need to surround yourself with speaking English, okay? 6, students always talk about, how can I improve my fluency? How can I, you know, talk more smoothly? And the suggestion I have is to make cards. I tell my students, get like 30 recipe cards and you put topics on them. For example, travel, friends, music. And it's a great activity with your friends on a Friday night. You put the cards in the middle of the table and you put the timer on for 1 minute, turn the card over and you talk non-stop about that topic. Whatever comes to your head. And when the minute is up, Turn the next card over, the next person goes. It's a great, fun way to spend a Friday or Saturday afternoon with your friends and practice your speaking. Seventh, I think it's so important to be confident. I think that this is probably the most important, because if you look at someone, if you have eye contact, many times your speaking will just seem better, as opposed to looking down shy. I don't want to see them if they can't see me. You need to look at them. You need to look at their eyes. You need to smile. Speaking is so important nowadays. There's no test that does not have a speaking component. IELTS, TOEFL, any kind of entrance exam, anytime you want to go to university, college, get a job, it's speaking, speaking, speaking. So all I can say is don't be afraid. Open that mouth. Speak. Nice to see you. Thank you. Roxanne.